Hi everybody, Carol here. Today I'm making another impossible card and I'm showing you how I made it with just an example on a piece of copy paper. I make a 5x7 card and I do it landscape style, and you can see right there what it looks like. That's why it seems impossible with the flipping and the twisting and the turning, that could be one piece of paper. But I'll put it back down and show you flat. I divide it visually across the 2.5 mark there. That's half of the 5x7, and the bottom flap, or the bottom half, I cut one time at the 3.5 mark, which is half of the 7. The top half of the flaps, I make these little tabs, and I make mine 1 3/4 inches, but you can make them any size you want to. And I draw those lines down to the center line, which is the 2.5 inch mark, and then I cut the scissors. There are just 3 cuts, but when you push that bottom rectangle back and then line up the little cut edges of that piece in the center that flips up, then turn that same piece back toward the front and line those edges up, and give it another little mash there. That puts that centerpiece that makes it look so, that's what they want to say is impossible, but of course it's very easy. Now I'm going to stamp with that stamp set is called Schooner, and I've switched now to a piece of white cardstock, and I'm showing that I'm going around the edges with a makeup sponge and neutral ink. These are pieces that I cut out of obviously yellow and navy, but I made some templates for that. I call them the outer piece and the inner piece, and you can do it any way you want to. Then when you flip it, you put the yellow, in this case it's yellow, on the top half. That shows that it matches that template, and then the smaller template in navy. And line those up. I use repositionable glue, and there's the inner piece. So that Tombow glue, so that you can move it around if you have to. Now my centerpiece, I use the sentiment stamp in there, and I stamped it onto a piece of white cardstock, mounted on a piece of red cardstock, and then the little ropes that you see with the knots in them, I will show you how I make that. That is another little stamp, but I use a stamp positioner because it's not the whole rope. It's just one little piece. You can make that rope with those knots as long as you want to. So I'm going to show you, I have demonstrated this before with the stamp positioner. This one's called Stampin' Up from Stampin' Up, and this stamp set is from there too, but I am not a dealer and never have been, but I enjoy this. So I'm stamping it onto this acetate sheet, and I'm going to line it up onto a piece of cardstock where I want it to be, line that handle up again, move the acetate sheet out of the way, and then come straight down with my stamp. And this is VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and stamp that one off. Now I line up the next little section of knotted rope, put it exactly where I want it, try to keep it straight, but it's not mandatory. And then stamp it again, come straight down, and from that handle, and there it lined up perfectly. And I'll do one more, and I'll speed this up, but I'll go across and just show you how this would be a great design with this stamp set. And you can see in the picture in the upper left hand corner how I did use it on the top and the bottom. And so it's a neat thing to do. I like being able to see where I'm going to stamp, and that's what I like about this. But you could use any of your stamp positioning tools that you have. So that's what it ends up looking like, and that's where the stamp came from. Now this, I was just playing around with it. These are some more of the stamps. Wishing you calm seas and calm breezes. And then here's the stamp, the Schooner ship. I stamped it onto a piece of white paper and then had to cut it kind of that L shape to get it to fit in there. I went around the edges of this and all the other pieces with my neutral ink and a makeup sponge and glued that down. Now I'm going to make some little banners that go in the upper right hand corner, and I'm showing you how I did this. I cut out the first two pieces, and then in order to line them up, I don't have a die for this, but you might. I just make a little line down from the point wherever that ends on the paper. Then I go back and make the other line to end on that same bottom line across the bottom, and then cut out across there. And of course you can see I still need to cut off that left hand edge. But here's one I've already made. Layered the three pieces together. I put a little star up there, but I could have just punched a hole, or punched the star hole out of that yellow, and the navy would have shined through. But instead I used a hole punch and just got another star. And then here is one more stamp, the wheel, and showing that on the back side, when you flip that and make it interactive, you could just write a note on that. One thing I didn't say on that little tabs is I used some very fine thread, and this is silk thread, and it's known as silk twist or buttonhole thread, because back in the day, if you made homemade buttonholes, you could go around the edge with this silk thread, and it would make with a buttonhole stitch, and it would make a beautiful buttonhole. But this is vintage, is my understanding. I don't know where I got it. I've had it a long time, but I think it's quite old. It's Coates & Clark, and it is 100%, pure silk, and that's what it looked like. I don't know if it's available anymore. Some form of silk thread is, I'm sure. But it's beautiful, and I have it in red too, and I've just had it for years, and kind of am selfish about where I use it and when I use it. But this is punching out some more stars with this little old inexpensive star punch, and I'm lining them up, and I wanted to show you that I have punched many a star, and I just started collecting them as I make them in different colors, put them in little bags. That way, if I need a certain color star, it's there. Keep it together with a big clip, and they're there and ready to go. So I've glued them. The glue is dried, so it's repositionable, and put a yellow star and a red star just to complete that front look. And when you flip it over, then you have the interactive part of the card, and you can write your note on it. You could write a note on the back of that saying. So as I've said before, in any of my videos that you haven't seen, if in the Impossible cards, you can go to my YouTube channel and see the rest of them. But an A7 envelope holds a 5x7 card beautifully. Now, very quickly, I will do a brush lettering of a saying by Louisa May Alcott, and it's about the ship. So I will quit talking and let you read it, and that will be the end for today. Hope you'll look at the videos that I have at the end, and there's be a subscribe button also. Have a great day. Thank you for being here today. Bye-bye.